Welcome to the Applits.com Voting Week Decision Podcast. Over the course of last week, you, the community, have voted on your favorite app ideas to narrow down the hundreds of idea submissions into just 5 finalists. In this podcast, you'll hear from the team that brings you the Applits platform as we discuss each of the top 5 finalists that you have deemed the best of the best from this competition cycle.
Now let's meet the team. As you'll notice, this is the same team that operates our for-hire app development branch, Designly.co. So if you'd like to work with us but don't happen to win this contest, feel free to shoot us an email for a free fixed-price quote at hello@Designly.co. I'll kick it off. I'm Keith Shields, CEO of Designly.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Tucker, CFO of Designly.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name's Ian Smith. I'm Designly's business development lead.
Hey guys, I'm Jake Bowles, project management lead at Designly.
And I'm Jake Larkin, also a project management lead here at Designly.
All right, so let's get started. To make our final voting week winner decision, we'll go through each of the top 5 finalists and assess them one by one. We'll be brutally honest on their technical feasibility, the existing competition that's already out there, their usefulness, and all of the things that make an app successful. After doing so, we'll battle it out to come down to a single winner. So here's where our pre-written script ends, so be prepared to see our real and uncensored discussion to decide where we'll invest our community's time and energy and our financial and coding resources. So the top 5 finalists from this competition cycle are, who came out number 1 in this voting week was Booksimity by TED. The brief description was, find free books in your proximity, create a wish list and give list. The app finds users who have the books you want and you want the books you have. Their full description was, for all those who love to read, the Booksimity app combines the generosity of others with the networking capability of an app. It's simple. Make a wish list of books you would like to read and make a give list of books you own and are willing to give away. The app will then connect you with other Booksimity users in your area who either have the books you want or who want the books you have. The two of you can then either meet in person, or if it's more convenient, the book can be simply left at a prearranged location and time since no money is changing hands. The free version will have ads and limit the number of wish list books to 5 at a time. $1 or $2 upgrade will remove ads and allow unlimited wish list items. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to read each idea submission. We're going to go through each of us as we discuss what we like about the idea, what we dislike about it, and how technically feasible it is. So, Josh, why don't you go ahead and kick it off with Booksimity?
Yeah, Booksimity did pretty well. Got 6.8% of the total votes. Everything was pretty close, but pulled ahead of everything else by 0.8%. So that's pretty good considering how many ideas are submitted to Applits in the voting week. I like this idea. I think it would be pretty relatively simple to develop, which is obviously good. So we could develop a really quality product pretty quickly. I like the idea, but the only issue is for me is, you have apps or, services like Craigslist, that have a lot of free exchanges already. I think it's a good idea. What do you guys think?
Jake, can I jump in here?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet. So I like this idea. I think by limiting it to proximity, right off the bat, you're basically killing the idea there, because in order for that to work, you need everybody. You need everybody in the same location to be on the app. Where realistically, your number of users probably won't reach that number. So I think maybe a more interesting model here would be something where $10, $15 a month to have access to this countrywide community where my monthly subscription pays for shipping back and forth between everybody. And in that case, it would open it up to people in proximity. With that, I think you might have a better chance of actually cracking into building a community that'd be able to use it.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have to reach that critical density before you start
Exactly.
getting the app to work properly.
I kind of have. There's also a lot of interesting. Oh, go ahead, Larkin.
I was just going to say I kind of have an opposite opinion of that because with the localized apps that you see out there right now, they're truly organically grown, and I could see myself thinking this is an interesting idea and asking a buddy that I know reads a lot to say, hey, would you mind downloading this? We could see each other's bookshelves, and we could potentially exchange books that we know each other have read, and we can ask each other's feedback on them. So I think you could really easily organically grow it in a local community as soon as one person or two people get the app. My big issue is anything where you have meetups like this, whether it's Craigslist or similar apps, is you have some legal issues because you're essentially facilitating meeting up between two people who may or may not already know each other. And whether or not something bad goes down there, it still kind of comes back to your hands. So I would see some problems there. But as far as the app, it would be easy to develop.
That's a little bit of legal.
Yeah.
Cool.
As far as let me jump in here real fast. The thing that I find so interesting about this, as far as what market would use this, is I know there's a lot of swap websites online where you can easily scan the barcode of your book that you want to possibly swap with someone else, and then you can go ahead and set up a time to meet, and then another user can log onto the site, see which books are out there that are close to them, and then they can determine a time to meet up. So this is actually kind of similar to that. I'd be interested to see whether those swap websites also have app platforms that they use, and kind of what percentage of users use the online site as opposed to the app, and see kind of what market share you can get there.
Yeah.
Great, cool.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm one more thing. I know there's the Paperback Swap web platform, and that has a credit system where you can request, members' books. The more credits you have, so the more you donate and give away, the more you can receive. And that hasn't made into an app, I believe. I know the mobile book swap app on the App Store uses that system, I think. So there is competition, but we can always rely on the Applits All Projects page to have our users suggest ways to make it more unique. And that goes along with the lines of, Jake Larkin, you had a great idea. Jake Bowles, you also had a good idea of making it not local only. Very, very good suggestions. All right, so let's bring it on to the next one. Number 2 from this competition was You Follow by Vid and Miria. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Brief description. GPS share with friends. Great for parties, following others, keeping large groups together, or at least knowing where each other are. Great for hiking. Full description. You Follow is a social media app that allows people to share with selected friends their GPS location. Have you ever tried following someone and lost them at a red light, or they drive entirely too fast? Were they to connect beforehand with this app, they would both know exactly where each other were. Want to throw a party, but don't want to have to answer texts all night or give out your address? Just select the friends you want to share your location with, and they'll know exactly where to go on their own. If you're out bar hopping and have friends meeting up with you at some point, connect and share, and they will find you much easier than you having to carry a conversation in a loud bar or waste time texting away on your phone trying to coordinate. So this is a good idea. Obviously, it wound up number 2. And out of all votes this voting week, it got 6% of all the total votes. So, Josh, what do you think?
I think I like this idea. But I think it's a little bit less relevant now than it would be, a few months ago. I think iOS 7 really, and iOS 8 too, really put, a damper on this idea, because you can share your location, directly within texting. So, if I go into iMessage, I can just send out my, my location right from, within the iMessage app. So that, that kind of, that's everywhere automatically right away if you have an iPhone. So,
Yeah, and Apple acquired Find My Friends a few years ago too, I believe. Find My Friends being a very similar app where you can select friends that you want to share your location with for predetermined period of time or infinitely. Now it's owned and operated by Apple, so.
Right. So those two solutions already have, what Josh said, that's the instantaneous location sharing, and then the Find My Friends, that would be that real time. If you're driving, for example,
Yeah.
Do you know how frequently it updates? I'm sure. I think it's pretty real time.
It's instantaneous. I have a handful of friends that use it very frequently, and it is nice. It certainly is a problem. I just think it's already been solved. And another comment too is the comment about this app being great for hiking and being outdoors. I don't think that that's going to be applicable, especially in the woods, because you're not actually going to have cell service, and that kind of completely destroys the idea of using this app out when you're hiking or camping or wherever you may be.
Right.
Cool. Anyone else
have some thoughts?
I would like to see a little bit more research go into the specific use cases that this would be solving. We've kind of given an overview of what already exists out there, but if I'm talking about personal experience, I probably wouldn't be the first to use this as a simple text message as my buddy. If I'm out on a Saturday night and say, hey, we just finished dinner, we're going to this bar next, meet us. That's something that's a lot more aesthetically pleasing to me, rather than just them being able to look at a pin dot on my map and so they know exactly where I'm at. I think as far as a use case is concerned for this type of app, it may exist. I would just like to see more research go into what would the target user be and how would it be solving a problem that's very real to them that they have on a regular basis.
Sure.
Great.
Jake Bowles, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, Ian kind of hit my thoughts. You're solving a variety of different problems with the following location of your friends. I know, one issue is if you, like on college campuses at least, if you're at a party and your girlfriend has to leave the party to walk to her apartment, you want her to text you when she gets home. So one use case in this would be making sure that she does get home. But you really have to narrow down the focus of the use case, like Ian was saying, and find something unique that this could be applied to, rather than just where are my friends.
Yeah, you could brand it to be more of a niche solution. Yeah.
Yeah, and make it very, very specific. I mean, it could be something like Bowles just said there, or it could be something like, okay, do you want someone to know when you got home from a long trip, when you're doing a road trip somewhere? Make it very, very specific. I think that penetrating that niche market would have a lot better chance of success for something like this to actually take off the ground.
Yeah, I just, real quick before we move on, I just thought of a case situation too. Like, whenever I leave places for road trips, I'm always asked by whoever was hosting me, shoot me a text when you get home, or at least tell me when you get home. You could kind of turn this app into something where you could have it automatically send out these kind of notifications based on your location. I know it's not exactly what they described, but
Right. It could be like a tell me when I get home app, right?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of,
or within similar cases.
right.
I always forget to do that. I'm the worst at that.
I'm awful at it. My mom
I am so bad. And
Yeah,
I could use something like this, especially if it was automated.
Yeah, because you already made it home. You just want to pass out on your bed. You don't want to text someone.
That's right.
I can't remember what I ate for breakfast most days, so it's I could definitely use that. All right, let's move on.
That's just
Design memory lapses.
Yeah,
All right.
let's move on.
Number 3, which also brought in 6% of total votes, so it was tied with You Follow. So I guess it wasn't clear cut 2 and 3. This was Rex by Susie, and Susie submitted some outstanding mock-ups that we're looking at now, sketches of her idea, and just for some background info that really helps with garnering interest for your idea and really helps paint the picture into our voters' heads. So we absolutely suggest submitting mock-ups with your submissions. All right, so the brief description on this: an app that lets you share your entertainment recommendations with your friends and gets you out of the I don't know what to listen to slump. Full description: I'm into music and books and movies in a huge way. All of my friends are into music and books and movies in a huge way. Half of my text, Twitter, Facebook, and in-person conversations revolve around entertainment recommendations. I'm constantly looking for new artists to listen to, new movies to watch, etc. And I'm super picky about it. I would love an app in the same vein as Instagram, but solely for recommending media to my peers and having them recommend their media to me. A simple user-follower setup so I could follow people whose tastes I'm into, with a news feed and a search feature to find new people to follow. All right, Josh, go ahead.
I really like this idea a lot. That is a big problem for people, trying to find out, like new music they like or what show to watch next. And an app like this would be helpful too, especially if you bring it into community. I know services like Netflix, they already suggest stuff for you, right? And I think they also do suggestions based on friends of yours on Facebook, if you connect it Netflix with Facebook. So there's stuff like that out there. Spotify has people you can follow. And so like Netflix and Spotify kind of do this already, but this is more of a, polling your friends. So I think it's a good idea. It would just be implemented properly, because you're going to have to tie in, everyone's interests right away. So you'd kind of probably have to spend a while updating the app, maybe as to your interests.
Right. So in terms of technical feasibility, then, if this was to be just what are you watching, go ahead and post it so all of your friends can see what you're watching, that would be very technically easy to implement. But if, what you're saying, if you're trying to automatically pull that in to say, okay, what are you watching in real time based on Netflix? What are you listening to in real time based on Spotify? That is extremely technically complex. And that's that would be out of the, I'm not sure if that's what this idea is suggesting or not, but that would definitely be way more complex.
Right. So it's, right. So it's something that I think if we were to do this, it would have to be, kind of just more of not a polling app, but more of, just a social network just based on that. And you would be tying stuff in, right?
Yeah.
Push versus pull. Yep.
I really like the idea of kind of curating people's media interests. I especially with books, because I have a lot of friends that have lists of books that they've read, and I'll look for those, whether it's on their personal sites or elsewhere, and I'll try to look at what they've read and ask them what they think about each of those books. And if I could do this all in one platform, that would be really cool. And same with movies. I'm always interested in documentaries, and if you could somehow find a way to source like all these documentaries that my friends have watched, and I could check them out based on like what they thought of them, that would be pretty neat. And as far as music goes, on Spotify, the social feed, I use that thing religiously. That's like all I use on Spotify. I'm constantly playing what people are playing on there, so I'd be into this app. It just in terms of it completely comes down to how you design the UX and UI of it. I mean, it's got to be really, really well done.
It has to be super easy to update and curate, right? Otherwise, it's just going to be a bunch of empty categories.
Yeah. To second Jake's Jake Larkin, because I'm Jake as well. To second your comment, I do the same thing. I have certain people that I either follow, either friends or figures in certain areas like reading. I'd be interested to see if you could get certain, if you want to call them influencers, on an app like this. And I do follow people who give book recommendations, whether that's a monthly newsletter or whatever. I'd love to see them on an app where I can see their reading list for that month and match my reading list based off of what they do. Same with movies, documentaries, things like that. I'd be really interested in seeing if you could garner some of that influencer power on an app like this.
That's a really good point.
And I think it comes down to, and you hit the nail on the head here, Larkin, with your UI and UX comment. I think it really comes down to how stupid simple can you make something like this? Because Spotify, they have a lot of market share in the music realm, but I'm picturing, same way you'll hop on your phone, you'll go on your contacts list to go and text someone. I'm picturing an app where you go on there, you have all of your contacts list that's on your phone. You click on one person's name and boom, it has their book recommendations list from 1 to 10. I mean, something really, really simple like that, that I can get that information right now instead of having to go to your personal website, having to text you, having to ask you, hey, can you share your Google spreadsheet that has your list of books on it? You know, I want to pick up a new book, you know, something that you can get really, really fast. I definitely think there's a need there. It's just amount of how well you can execute.
Yeah, I certainly agree.
I love the idea of the influencers bringing them on there. It just comes down to, you know, how we can pitch that to the influencers to incentivize them to actually come and use that platform, because they get pitched thousands of things daily to, you should use this. So
Sweet.
You have to know some.
Yeah, exactly. All right, number 4, Pick My Outfit by Ambish. This got 5.8% of all the total votes for this month's competition. Brief description. Pick My Outfit allows other people to help you choose which outfit looks best on you. Full description. App that allows the user to post pictures of himself or herself in multiple outfits he or she is debating to wear for a specific event. The pictures of the different outfits are displayed side by side in the app for either the general public or select friends to vote on which one they think looks best. The user chooses which type of event, date, interview, concert, etc., what type of look they are going for, sexy, intellectual, conservative, etc., and what time they need to make a decision on an outfit by. The user can also choose the level of exposure and the privacy they want for their choices. For example, they can filter or send this info to all general public, all their Facebook friends, or a select group of friends. In the end, you present the different outfit options and receive others' opinions to make your choice. Josh, you can go ahead and kick it off.
So this isn't an idea I would use, but I think a lot of people out there would use this, right? We've seen ideas similar to this in the past, maybe not quite as well thought out as this one. But yeah, I think there's a really huge market for something like this. Probably the biggest barrier to entry is getting that community in place to reach that critical mass where you can have people approve or say the outfit looks good or not quickly, because if you're getting ready to go out at night, you're not going to sit there waiting for 2 hours for somebody to say that looks nice, right? That's the absolute most critical thing for this app, is to have quick feedback. So whether that's solved through a big user community or sending push notifications to your friends for them to check really quick, that's something that would have to be figured out. But I think this idea does have a really big user community that would use this app.
There's currently another app that's out there right now that actually has a lot of traction called WeStyle. That's on the Apple iTunes stores as well. And what they do is really, really similar. And what they do is essentially the same thing, where you're able to upload up to 4 images at a time with filters, and you're able to crop it, and you get real-time advice from the community on WeStyle's mobile platform. And you also get push notifications as well. So that's essentially the exact same thing that we're talking about here. So if the idea is able to be twisted a little bit or pivot into something that's more of a niche, that's the only way I could see something like this taking off the ground, because WeStyle is really has market share right now as far as getting guidance or advice or input on a certain outfit or a collection of outfits for an event.
So is that app? So from what I understand, Pick My Outfit would be like, I send a picture of my outfit to you, Ian, and you say, yeah, that's good or that's bad. Is WeStyle like they have their own style aficionados on there that tell you, or are those friend based? Do you know? Yeah.
So I think it's twofold. I think it's just a community, and you also have people that you can actually have be your friends. So for instance, if you and I, Jake, are both users of the WeStyle community, I can add you as a friend, and then you would have me as a friend, and you would get a push notification when I basically want your advice on something. Now, on the opposite end, the reason why WeStyle is pretty cool is if, let's say, you're hiking in the Appalachian Mountains, you don't have access to your iTunes or to your phone, then I also can tap into that community that can also give me advice.
Got it.
Right. I think maybe with Pick My Outfit, you would have to like find that niche of, hey, this is what I'm wearing right now. This is what I need. I need advice ASAP, right? Maybe that would be the a selling point of the app.
Yeah. So to assist in making it more real time, what you could do is have the app send a push
text
notification directly to your friends, or a text that says, I need feedback now. And then maybe if you want any supplemental feedback from people you don't know, they can pop it into the app, and then anyone viewing that app at that time, granted if it's a big enough user community, they can see that, and then they can reply to you if you care to share it publicly as well.
With the number of people that I've seen do something like this, whether it's through sending pictures or Snapchats or whatever to friends as they're getting ready, I think this has a huge market. It's just like, you got to figure out a way to get instant feedback, because I don't check all my notifications instantly unless it's a phone call or a text. I typically don't look at it immediately. So if you can find a way to get your friends to not ignore your request as you're like standing in your room holding two outfits, then
right.
Yeah.
So what if you can incentivize it a little bit? We haven't really talk too much about business cases. So what if for each, if you answer, a pick my outfit question within a certain amount of time, you get discounts on certain online shopping websites. So if I answer 5 of my friends' requests within 30 seconds, I get 10% off of I don't even shop online, so I don't know where you buy from. But regardless, that could be a way that you could solve 2 problems: a business model problem and keeping people engaged quickly.
And you know what? You could probably even do this through text, right? So let's say I have an outfit that I like, right, and I want to know if my friend likes it, so I send it to them, and then you could have a hyperlink embedded in the text that says yes or no, that would have a unique code for that particular outfit.
Yeah,
right.
I think
Now that's a great idea.
So that would be something that would be sweet, right? Because a lot of people are doing stuff like this where you have a shareable link that has a million characters at the end of it, for like Google Docs. So you do the same thing with a yes or no in a text message.
You could even have the app self-generate, like you take 2 photos and it self-generates a single image with left and right, and you select like 10 of your friends, just like Snapchat, and it just automatically sends that image to those 10 friends, and then just ask them to send back left or right, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Right, because that's the barrier to entry for most of these, right? Because you have a user community, like a separate social network. You don't have that instantaneous feedback. So I think that would be huge for an app like this.
Right, it's very hard to rely on your friends to actually have the app downloaded as well, right? It's very hard to get your friends to download all these apps for different purposes. So like you said, if you can get that blasted out via text, that's brilliant.
And the incentive to download the app would be like, oh, hey, this was really easy. It stitched 2 pictures together, just like Instagram can, right? So you would
initiate it, yeah.
Right, so that would be like, hey, I need this app. This is sweet. Let me do this, right? So let me download this. So that would be, the ease of use would be the reason to get the app, I think.
And I always like coming back to solving a problem. And aside from it being cool, I mean, picture what's a problem that girls will have when they go out. It's like, 2 girls went out and they both wore a white dress with red shoes or whatever, and then they freak out because they're wearing the exact same thing. You could almost use even a group me model where you have a group of say 5 to 6 friends, where it's this style pick my outfit app where you're not sending messages in a group setting saying, rent's due or this bill's due or something like that, but you're taking pictures and they're side by side and you're getting comments that are below your picture that say, oh, that's nice, I like that, or I like this, or I'm wearing this. And all of a sudden you have this kind of community, and instead of just asking one person for what do you think about this outfit, you have your group of 5 or so friends or whatever that you're going out with that night. So you kind of get, an idea of how people match up as far as, if they're going out together, not wearing the same thing. So that might be a little bit of a problem that this could be solving as well.
That'd be
Another
cool.
twist. Yep.
Another twist.
A lot of twists for that app.
The concept is good. It could go a lot of different ways, I think.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Agreed completely.
All right, moving on. For number 5, last but certainly not least, we have Eureka by Saurav Banerjee. I'm sure I mutilated that name, so I apologize. And this was a great logo here. It looks custom made. Really good logo. Brief description: the how-to, how do I app. Full description: Eureka, the how-to, how do I app. An app that helps people find out how to do something. For example, how to paint, how to ride a bike. Google, YouTube, and other similar websites and apps do not allow users to leave a question on how to get their stuff done for a later response by another user who probably knows how it's done. An app that only focuses on how to do stuff by responses from other users via text, images, and videos, following a step-by-step procedure. Curious users search through the app on how to get their stuff done, reviewing the solution by comments, likes, and stars out of 5 based on satisfaction. If no response is available on how to get their stuff done, then they can leave the question for a later response. Josh?
Yeah, I think this idea is pretty sweet. The whole how-to, community is pretty huge. There's a lot of Udemy or WikiHow. There's a lot of stuff out there, which is I think an issue for an app like this because there's just so much competition. There's a huge amount of competition, and while it's a great idea, I think there's almost too much competition out there to make it worthwhile to pursue. I think, Jake, didn't you have a comment on this too?
Which Jake?
Larkin. That's true.
Yeah, I like this idea, but so initially my thought was this is a great idea because it will try to source together a lot of other sources of information on how to do things. But now as I'm looking at it, the real instance of use for me is I'm in a pinch and I'm trying to figure out how to do something quickly. Something's leaking in my house or something's broken on my car, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And now that I'm reading this and I'm seeing that I need to post a question and wait for a response by somebody who's done it before, I see 2 big issues. And one is I can't just post a question and wait until someone answers it. I would be trying to figure out how to do it myself by that time. And then 2 is, how do you incentivize somebody to spend their time to send these texts and images and videos on how to, change the air filter on your 98 Ford Explorer? Like, there's no incentive for them to do it. Maybe there's a better way to do that, but right now I'm not really seeing that. I don't know if that's what you wanted me to say there, Jeff.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's your opinion, right? So yeah. I think, well, it is a cool idea. I'm not sure if it solves the problem that it needs to. Yes,
I agree. There's absolutely a problem with finding information on how to do things, but I don't know if this is exactly the answer yet.
The concept and the scope of this app idea is way too broad, I think, to ever give flight. Seal, you mentioned too much competition probably 6 times in your little comment there, but there's just too much. You look at all the things that are out there. I don't see absolutely any way that something like this would get off the ground. Larkin mentioned, how do you convince a person to send a text image or let alone a video? I know for one thing, I care about my buddies and helping them out, but I could pick up my phone if they say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. I'd rather pick up my phone and give them a call and walk them through how to do something rather than try to go through the pain of signing up for this app, taking an image, uploading an image, taking a video, let alone uploading a video just to help some random user who lives in another state hundreds of miles away that has a problem. That just, there's no way to incentivize that, and I think it's impossible to incentivize that. That's why something like this hasn't really existed. So people go back to WikiHow and these step-by-step walkthroughs and the tutorials and these forums online. I mean, that seems to be a solution that works for a lot of people, which is why I think we haven't seen yet an app like Eureka and a how-to app emerge and really gain some market share in the app mobile space.
Good points.
Yeah, so I think the majority of the apps and websites that are already out there that do this, like 5min, like VideoJug, Expert Village, How Stuff Works, WikiHow, eHow, there's lots.
Google's starting something on this too, aren't they?
Google, yep. The majority of those platforms, I think, incentivize the contributions by being like, okay, you are an expert in this field, come post your video or explanation and market yourself, right? And have a link back to your site or service. So maybe that could be something that we consider in terms of how to incentivize how-to videos being or text being pushed to this app.
Isn't Google doing something like that too, though? It's like Google Helpouts or something where you can like
it's live.
Yeah, you request an expert, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
any other comments, Jake Bowles?
No. So I was just thinking about, have you guys ever heard, I'm sure you've heard of it, Cha-Cha, where
Cha-Cha.
you just ask a question and it's basically a human like search engine. And they pay the people who answer those, a few cents for each answer. And that's that's how they incentivize answers. I just don't see if you could apply that to,
more important things.
How to. Yeah, I don't know how Cha-Cha is doing, and that'd be something that'd be worth investigating.
Josh used to be a guide for that. He used to answer questions.
Yeah, in high school, I was a guide just for fun. I thought it'd be like, and
that's awesome.
You get some pretty interesting questions, but it's like so the way they work is you have like you get a question coming in. They have this crazy like database of already answered questions, so you can already pick. You could like instantly pick an answer to a question, right? So it kind of expedites things. There's not two people. There's an expediter, and then if you can't figure out what that answer is, you send it to an expert, right? Like let's say someone asked me a math problem and it wasn't in the database. I would send that off to a person who's a mathematician kind of guy. So it's kind of interesting.
And just for the record to our listeners out there, I said seal a couple times. That's actually our nickname for Joshua Tuck, our CFO. So just to clear the air there.
The CFO seal.
Who's seal?
Our
our mascot is not a seal. Let's be clear.
We have
The
a
Applits
seal in the
seal.
office.
All right, Applesteed's a cute mascot character, so I think we got one now.
Right.
All right, so now that we've gone through all 5 finalists and discussed the good and the bad, it's time to make our final decision. So first, we will take the initial pulse of each of our team members on what idea they like best. So start thinking, guys. Then we'll take a quick break as the final decision is made and reconvene to announce the final winner. So Josh, you go ahead and start. If you had to pick a single idea out of these 5 to be the best of the best, which would it be and why?
Well, I'll have to think about that a little bit, but my 2 favorite right now are Rex and Pick My Outfit. I think those just have the biggest potential for growth, and especially judging by both the Designly crew's reactions and based on my own personal bias. I think Rex and Pick My Outfit have the biggest potential to be big hits on the App Store.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ian.
Well, I'm going to try not to agree with Seal here. Just to add some variety, or Josh. But I'm leaning towards, I like the idea of Rex. I really do. I think the ability to create an app that you're easily able to see what your friends are interested in from a book and music perspective, with an emphasis on the books, as we previously discussed. I think that would be really, really neat. I think there's a lot you could do with that. I think there's a lot of value that would create, especially within friend groups. It would really minimize the time it takes from one person to find out what their friend's book recommendation would be if they could just go onto this app. And, my personal bias as well, I know I would love to use something like this instead of having to text my buddies and say, hey, you give me a book recommendation, and they might be at the gym, and then I have to wait 2 hours to get a response. So I'm really leaning towards Rex right now. I think that's a really cool idea.
Very nice. Jake Bowles?
I'm going to have to go with Pick My Outfit, even though I would never ask for fashion advice from any of my friends.
Although you should.
I learn the same thing every day.
Yeah, so I think that has the best opportunity to tie in tie in the things that keep people coming back to a product. And we kind of discussed, involving text messages. And I think that the Applits community can get pretty creative and really hone in on an idea that has that social aspect added into a service that, I see people using all the time with Snapchat and shooting an image to their friend via text, things like that. So that's my pick.
Very cool. Jake Larkin?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep a little bit of mystery here before we make our big decision. I'm still down to 2. I love that Booksimity. I think that's really cool. I could see myself using that. I could see myself getting my friends on board with it. I just gave somebody a book this morning for them to read, and I could see myself trying to find and source books from other friends in my community with that. But at the same time, I also, for the same reasons the other Jake mentioned, pick my outfit. There's just such a market. I see that being used all the time, or at least that concept. I think building something and doing it really, really well could capture that. Now, again, I don't see myself using it, but it'd be cool to build.
So generous. Let's make something else that someone else will use.
Pete, are we getting your opinion too?
Yeah, I guess I'll shoot in my opinion. So I'm also a big fan of Booksimity. Ted has a great submission there. I think, as we've discussed, to make it more usable, it would have to be something like what I think Jake Bowles explained, which is the monthly subscription, and then that pool of money rather is used to pay for the shipping to ship books out to people, right? So it's kind of this whole system. And as Applits users know, if we were to do that, we really try to stray away from things that'll have a huge infrastructure like that. If Applits has to maintain this pot of money and then give chunks of it out to people to start paying for shipping, that is a lot of infrastructure. That is a lot of accounting. Sounds like a nightmare to Josh already. I can already feel it in his veins. And so because of that, I think that concept would be limited towards Ted's original idea, which is the local, let's just leave a book somewhere and let's pick it up from, another person just pick it up later. Yeah. And because of that, it requires a big community. But I still love that. And then I'm going to be even less decisive than you guys. And I'm going to say I have 3, Booksimity, Rex, and Pick My Outfit. And Rex and Pick Out are also great ideas, and you guys have hit on all the points, so I really don't have anything to add too much. But I think that's good for now, and we will break here and come back in a couple minutes and talk about who wins. So thank you, guys. Stay tuned.
This podcast is supported by our partners at DigitalOcean. They have created the fastest and most convenient cloud technology to help you easily and more efficiently manage your infrastructure so you can get back to coding. They provide all their customers with high-performance solid-state hard drives, a flexible API, and the ability to select the nearest data center location. We use them for every project we are involved with, and they've been a blessing for our company. If you want to learn more about how to deploy on DigitalOcean, go to www.designly.co/DigitalOcean. Thank you.
Welcome back. After going through further market research and technical feasibility, our decision is made. Ian, can I get a drum roll, please? Our final winner is Pick My Outfit by Ambish. Woo! With some slight modification to this concept, the team feels that it can be made very technically feasible. We could inject some uniqueness by not requiring all your friends to have the app. Instead, you could take some pictures and broadcast those out to your friends for some real-time feedback via text. That text can include a link to go to a web-based page where you can say yay or nay or left versus right, whatever the concept may evolve into. So big congrats to Ambish, who will bring home 15% of all the profits this app generates once we design it, develop it, and push it out to the App Store. If you're interested in this concept too, you can participate in its creation on the Applits.com All Projects page. The more you help over the course of the next 2 months, the more points you will earn, and the higher you'll place on our points leaderboard. The 3 users with the most points at the conclusion of next competition cycle will each earn percentages of future revenues in this app. You can learn more about our process on the Applits How It Works page. So thanks for listening, everybody. Applits is hosted by Designly.co, a creatively bold and humbly priced app development firm specializing in fixed pricing and high-quality work. You can see our professional portfolio and inquire about your next project at www.designly.co. That's all for now. Until next time.
Well, if you're still listening at this point, we want to thank you. Applits is all about creating a community of individuals who want to see great products made, and we want to continue sharing with you the nitty-gritty details about how we make those hard decisions. This was Applits' first podcast, so please excuse the cheesy sound bits and all the recording errors. If you enjoyed the podcast or found it even remotely entertaining, please be kind and leave a friendly review for us. If you have any questions or would like to work with us in the future, feel free to contact us at hello@designly.co. See you next voting week.